Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. So today is March 1st, 2024, and today I got paid the rent because I'm a landlord, right? And we got $6,150 in rent. Bam! And we're doing velocity banking with it. And so I'm going to show you how you can do velocity banking with rental real estate checks because the strategy is the same whether you're doing real estate, rental real estate or not, because all it is paycheck into the line of credit. And so now we're just going to do a quick demo here of how to do velocity banking, or similar to what I'm doing, right? Now, here's the thing. Uh, I actually don't recommend getting rental real estate unless you're comfortable with the risks, right? So there's several risks. The main one having a bad tenant and not paying you on time, right? So the most important thing is buying it right at the right price, and then number two, selecting the right tenant. And then if you do the hard work in selecting the right tenant, then it's pretty much a very passive experience. So this is very different from my friend's experience. My friend bought a multifamily unit in an expensive city, right? So, but for whatever reason, I don't know why. Again, my friend would not take the same classes I did. I was like, "Hey, I got real estate education. I want to share with you," and my friend was like, "Nah, I'm good." And that person told me that the tenants bother her so much, right? And that you know, she's kind of thinking of selling it off after 1 year. And I'm like, I'm gonna keep this thing forever, or at least that's what I'm thinking I'm gonna do, right? And that's why education is important, and you don't buy any old property or accept any old tenant, right? But let's just go here, right? So here we're doing velocity banking, and the first thing that we do is a budget. So I have this split out into two things, so W-2 income and rental income. Again, if you're doing rental real estate, uh, always plan for the worst case scenario. So if your tenant doesn't pay you, will you be okay? Right? And there's a lot of people out there who are leveraged to the hilt. And then, if one, let's say you have 10 rental real estate houses, and let's say, there's all 10 tenants move out at the same time, but because your homes are leveraged, or they're all in debt, you might have a big problem and you might be freaking out as a landlord, right? So that's why, my personal philosophy with rental properties is if I get a rental property, I'm going to make sure if the tenant doesn't pay, I'll still be okay, right? And so here we have a budget of W-2 income. So let's say we make $6,000, and then the tenant is actually paying $2,000 a month. There's an estimation you can use to calculate your net income. So it's like 70% of whatever is the gross income, which is $2,000 a month. You can think of it as your income after expenses. So we put that here, and then here we have our general other expenses. And as you can see, we have a good amount of savings. But let's say our tenant didn't pay us, right? Then that number significantly shrinks. So if you're okay with your tenant not paying you, and you're going to be okay for a little bit, ride the storm a little bit, then I would be in a position to say, yeah, I will do rental real estate because I understand the benefits, and there's actually four benefits, not just cash flow. Um, Especially if you have debt on a property, be aware of this. Cash flow is usually almost zero, right? Or zero, or it's some, little pathetic number like a couple $100 that real estate investors get invested are excited about. But again, cash flow is not the only benefit of rental real estate. There's appreciation, there's depreciation, which is a tax benefit. Talk to your accountant. I'm not an accountant, so I don't give tax advice. Um, Mortgage pay down, and then cash flow. So there's four benefits to rental real estate, and so just be aware that cash flow is not the only thing that is the benefit to real estate. So let me go back here. So let's say our tenant pays us on time. We got a beautiful, beautiful tenant who pays this beautiful, beautiful check every single month. We have one rental property, $2,000 a month, and then we're going to calculate the net here. And then maybe we got into some credit card debt, right? So three credit cards, our personal mortgage, and again, this is kind of similar to my situation, where I have a mortgage and it's a really cheap interest rate, and then I got a rental property, bought at a discount, but that rental property mortgage is much higher because that's just what because the reason why lenders charge more for rental property mortgages or investment mortgages is because they know that if S hits the fan, right? If something goes wrong, you're definitely much more likely to pay your own personal home mortgage than a rental property mortgage. So it's much riskier in their eyes. So that's why they charge higher interest rates, right? Okay, so now we've done the budget, and then now we got to figure out our debt payoff plan. So again, with velocity banking, the budget is very similar, right? And but the thing is, we assume the income is the same, but our savings is zero, right? And what we have to do is now re-engineer our finances and figure out, right, how to increase our cash flow. And so we have these three credit card debts. So if we add them up, that's about $50,000. And let's assume that because we have so much equity and we bought at the right time at the right price, we're able to get something called a home equity line of credit. And all a home equity line of credit is it's kind of like a credit card based on the value of your home, right? So let's assume that we have a home equity line of credit and we're able to get maybe $70,000 as a limit, okay? At a 10% interest rate. Now, I've heard people tell me, "Oh, why is this dollar sign?" Let me redo this. Okay, so I've heard people tell me they got a 5% home equity line of credit. I'm like, huh? Wow, I need to check that out. So, I'm just going to assume I'm give you my number of what I usually get in interest, but I've heard 5%. So now let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and re-engineer our debt to increase our cash flow. And so where did it go? I must have screwed this up over because I don't remember where I placed some of this information. But again, okay, I'm just rambling on and on. So let's go ahead and increase our cash flow. So let's do this. Let's debt transfer or transfer this credit card debt to our line of credit. And so now this is going to be 60,000. Is it 50,000 or 60,000? Well, let's say 50,000, I think. Let me just check. So this is going to be 20 plus 30 is 50. Okay, so what happens when we just do a simple debt transfer? Zero, 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 bam. So we got two mortgages. We got our own personal mortgage and our rental mortgage. Okay, so let's go ahead and check out what our new cash flow number is. So we got to add up our W-2 income plus our rental income minus our expenses. And now we got that $4,000 of cash flow. It's insane, mind blown, right? So now let's go ahead and do this. So this is J2 plus 1. And then now we're going to go ahead and let me actually delete this and make this closer to here. Okay, so now what we got to do is calculate the next month's balance. All the next month's balance is the previous month's balance plus the previous month's interest minus this cash flow, 4130.81, right? And then now what we're going to do is we're going to take the average daily balance, multiply it by 10%, right? That's the interest rate here, and then divide by 12. And that's how we get the interest. And let's go ahead and format this correctly. So this is going to be number, no currency, and where's the US symbol? English, United States. All right. Oh, it's not giving me two decimal places, which I need. Okay. All right. So now all we got to do is do that, and let's see how long it takes to pay this sucker off. Okay. So only about 12 months, right? So or 13 months, right? So let's go ahead and highlight this, and we'll just put this as a milestone that it took us 13 months to pay off our $50,000 of credit card debt. And again, it's combining our income and the tenant's income and again, putting it all into one place um, so that we can easily pay off our debt and using the full power of our income and cash flow, right? Now, here's the other thing, too. Once we have rental real estate, this number could probably go up. Why is that? Is because as a rental property owner, right? Again, I'm not an accountant, so talk to an accountant about this. There are huge tax benefits, right? So there's, I forgot what the limit is, but I think if it's below $150,000, if you make under $150,000, you can use the expenses of the rental real estate to immediately write off your W-2 income. Again, I'm not an accountant, so I can't say for sure. But talk to your accountant about this. Again, I'm not giving you tax advice, but what I'm saying is that one of the reasons why high income earners buy rental real estate is for those tax benefits, right? So this number could probably go up if this is just simply our W-2 income and we would take that into account. Okay, so now let's go ahead and do 50K in 13 months, right? So under 13 months, we paid off 50K. Now we have our mortgage, so in my opinion, it would be better off to pay off this rental mortgage first, get that full cash flow and then pay off our personal mortgage, right? Because the interest rate's low, and we got a lower payment as well. And so if you know the debt payoff criteria, like which debt do you pay off first? Which one should I pay off first? My rental mortgage or my personal home mortgage? Well, you choose the one that has the lowest balance, the highest interest rate, and the highest payment. And so this one fits all three criteria, right? Whereas this one, the statement balance over the monthly payment, there's a formula called the cash flow index, and that ignores the interest rate. So let's say $200,000 over 821.79, so equals 170,000 divided by 1247.7 or 44, right? So as you can see here, we have two numbers, and the whole point of the cash flow index system is kind of like thinking like a ranking system. The lower the number, the more cash flow you can get by paying that loan off first. So it's like saying, would you pay $170,000 to get $1,200 back, or $200,000 to get only $821 back? You see what I'm saying? Now, the numbers also have significance based on where they are. So if it's like above 100, it's like say don't pay it off. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think you should pay it off because if you have an 8% mortgage over 30 years and you pay it on a 30-year schedule, you're going to pay more than 100% interest, right? I think it's like 150. I got to check that. But all right, so now based on the criteria we talked about, the rental mortgage is the one we want to pay off first. And so what we can do is we can use our velocity banking calculator to figure out how long it's going to take out to pay this rental mortgage. Now, some people might say, hey, keep the rental mortgage because you're going to get, tax benefits by writing off the interest of the mortgage. Yes, you can, but I feel like you'll get more. And again, I'll have to verify this because I know this is certainly true with personal mortgages, but because I think I've done the calculation before. But if you just keep the mortgage, the interest, I'm sorry, the mortgage, and you want to deduct the interest, again, I'm not an accountant, I feel like that's like paying a dollar to save a quarter, but I might be wrong about that. All right, but let's just go ahead and do this. I have this velocity banking calculator by Renatus because I'm a Renatus student, and anyone who's a Renatus student can get this calculator. And I actually make a little bit of commission by selling Renatus products, and it's where I first learned velocity banking from. And so this kind of thing like this is a cheat sheet. And all right, so let's go ahead and let's just do this. And what we're gonna do is just put the information, copy and paste to figure out how long it's going to take us to pay off that rental mortgage, right? So 170,000, and then how long has passed? And actually, it's just a year, so it's not going to be chipped off. The principal balance is not going to be chipped off that much. But rental mortgage, no, I'm sorry, calculator, rental, no, let's loan amortization. Okay. So let's go in here, 200,000, 30 years at 8%. And then now what we're going to do is figure out after 1 year at the 13-month mark, what's the balance? And so as you can see, after the first year, you paid 15 grand in interest and 1 grand in principal. Now that I think you can deduct this whole thing, right? I think you can deduct this whole thing. So that's a good, again, figure to deduct. But if you pay it off, right, then you'll probably get more money back. But it doesn't. I mean, it's not a bad thing to be able to deduct all this interest. But in the end, I think a paid off home is better. But that's just me. All right, so now we got this principal, or I'm sorry, this ending balance of 198, and then let's go ahead and did I? I screwed up. Not 200,000. And again, the reason why we can buy it at this price or have a loan at this price is because we bought it at a discount. So this would ideally be a $300,000 home. Maybe we put a 20% down payment and we bought it for like 200 or 210. So that's why the loan is so low, which is kind of similar to my situation right now. So now let's go ahead and copy and paste this number, right? Let's go ahead and copy and paste it. And the interest rate is 8%, 30 years, and let's get the payment amount, which is 1247.4, 1247.4, 1247.4. And then I always say when you're dealing with mortgages or high um, balance loans with a lower interest rate, I would just use, let's say, uh, an amount equivalent to my income. So let's just say $8,000, even though it's like 7,700. Let's just make that rounded number easy. So $8,000, 10%, and then so our total income is 7,700, and our expenses is everything except the loan we're trying to pay off. So it would be these two because this one's already calculated for in the calculation. So let's go ahead and figure out what this number is. So D12 plus D13. And so that'll be 2003 to 179. So let's go ahead and do that. All right. So now what we're going to do is we can pay this off in 3 years. Oh my goodness, like mind blown, right? 3 year paid off investment home. Oh man. Oh, how'd that happen? Right? See, this is why I don't really believe in buying like 20 homes leveraged to the hilt. And for some reason, like a lot of people would rather have like 40 doors, all leveraged, and then that's a success compared to like one home every couple of years, right? Or even one home a year. That would be fine. I don't need like 20 homes in 1 year, right? I don't want to have all that debt and then freak out if a tenant doesn't pay. I want to be in a position if a tenant doesn't pay, like I'll be okay. I'll be okay. But hey, if I can wait 3 years and get a good tenant, paid off in 3 years. Oh my goodness. All right. And so now this is going to be zero, right? And then bam, that cash flow really explodes, right? And so now, after 3 years, what's our $200,000 mortgage going to be like? And this is going to be 2.8% interest rate. And so now, so be at year four, right? Year four. Oh my goodness. We only take a look at that. Oh wait, I screwed up. Okay, so year four would be 181. I was gonna say like, whoa, year four and you only paid this much? Something seems wrong, and I realize I'm a month four. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is that we're just gonna do the same thing and put in the information here, right? And so let me just do this, 200,000. Okay. And actually, let me write the milestone. So the milestone here is that it takes 3 years to pay this off. So 170 plus W 220K plus 3 years. So it's 36. So 4 years and 1 month, I think. Okay. So now let's figure out how long it's going to take to have because maybe like, hey, I'm sick of real estate after just dealing with one tenant, but I'll just keep it anyways, just because like, one tenant is enough for me and I don't need another rental house. So I'm just going to get my own, just pay off my own mortgage, right? So let's go ahead and do that. And what we're going to do is just fill in that information. Again, if this calculator is really cool because like it's a lot more precise than sometimes than when I do it. But let me go ahead and we're going to put in our line of credit here. Yes, that's our information. This is going to be a 2.8% interest rate and 82179 is the payment. 82179. And then what is our monthly income? Our monthly income is still the same, 7,700, right? Because we're taking into account the tenant income. But what is our expenses? It's only this 1,500 general expenses. All right, so now we can reduce this figure. And then bam, how long did this take us? 2.6 years. Okay, so this is so this will be 4 years. What's 2.6 in number of months? So what's zero point 0.6 in number of months times 12? 7.7 months. So this is going to be 2 years is going to be 6 years, and we'll say 8 months, right? And we're going to pay this off. So this is about 420K because the original loan amount is 200. So bam, 6 years, we're free and clear of all our credit card debt and two homes. Isn't that mind blowing? Two homes. And paid off 420,000, and we did it under 7 years. Every time I heard about velocity banking, it's always about like, oh, pay off your mortgage in your one mortgage in 5 to 7 years, but we paid off two. Bam! That's amazing. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and highlight this, and we gotta put on some music, celebrate some good times. Oh my goodness. All right. Oh, and let me draw here. How do I draw? Yeah, we got this draw here. And then let's go ahead and celebrate. So celebrate. Because why? We paid off two homes in under 6 years, free and clear, and we didn't do anything, right? We didn't pay that insane amount of interest that the bank would pay help make us pay. So let's say I put 170, there's a zero, at 8%. What's the total interest, right? We got to pay $279,000 in interest. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's all tax deductible, but why not? But most of it is just like the tenant paying the bank and me getting a tax deduction on that. Whereas I'd rather just get all the money, you know what I'm saying? And then, there are other tax benefits to rental real estate like depreciation that you can take, which is kind of like a loan you got to pay back later if you sell it. Anyways, all right. Well, this is Korean Atlanta Mentorship. If you're interested in joining our group and learning about velocity banking, real estate investing, financial literacy, go ahead and click the Google Form link below. Other than that, hope you learned something. Again, today was a great day because we got paid the rent, and that's what we do as landlords. First of the month comes, bam, we get this money, right? All right, well, have a great day, everybody, and we'll see you in the next video.